Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start in the back of the prayer book. We're going to start at the end. We're going to start on page 343 at the very bottom of the page, page 343. Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua, Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua, Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua, Oziva Zimratya, Vahili. Whoa, 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 Oziva Zimratya. All right, that's all there is to it. I mean, how hard can it be? 5 words and a lot of O's. All right, you do it with me. Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua. Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua. Oziva Zimratya, Vahili Leshua. Oziva Zimratya, Vahili. Shabbat Shalom. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's joining us online. Glad that you are with us as well. We're going to begin our service by lighting Shabbat candles, and Trish Monroe is going to light our candles this evening. Please turn to page 3 in the prayer book.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and into our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts, and may our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Trish. Well, let's kind of weave the connections between us a little stronger by sharing simchas. Simchas are good things that happened to you during the past week, since last Shabbat, that you can relate in one sentence. So anybody have a simcha from this week you would like to share? Something good that happened this past week that you would like to share with the congregation? Eileen? So Eileen says her brother moved in, which now makes you local. And other simchas from the week? Anybody else? A simcha from this past week? Let's continue in the prayer book on page 8. Did I get that right? Page 9. On page 9, and we're going to read responsively here. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Nil Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Seitchem L'Shalom, Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. Page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'gala ba'gala uv'izman karim v'imeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach Le'olam ulol me'ol maya Yitbarach, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei d'kudisha Brichu Le'elamin Kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damir on mi'alma V'imeru Amen. Page 28. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Et Adonai, Hamivorach, Hamivorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamivorach, Le'olam, Le'olam v'amen. You may be seated. Let's continue reading together in Hebrew on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila. Umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We're going to do a setting for the next prayer that's actually in the back of the prayer book on page 373. You'll see the song that says, Open Up Our Eyes, page 373. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Page 34. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha havaderech uvshokbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'ayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 41. Please read with me. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. We're going to do the setting for the next prayer, Hashkivenu, out of the songbook. So if you'd please turn the songbook to page 13. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu shoreinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu shoreinu lechayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu shoreinu lechayim. Page 45 in the prayer book. Please read with me. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. I invite you to rise as you are able for the Amidah. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agidei latecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agidei latecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. God, open as I begin to pray. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agidei latecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agidei latecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ויקונא הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למד שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל, אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You may be seated. We continue on page 55. Please read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And let's read together on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. In our prayers at a morning service, we address God as Matir Asurim, the one who releases those who are bound. It is but one of many ways that we speak of God as Redeemer. Redemption is central to the Jewish view of God. When we bring about the redemption of the captives, we are doing holy work. We are God's hands. Each soul freed from the horror of captivity in Gaza evokes for us a humble gratitude. We too find ourselves filled with tears of joy as they return to their families. And yet, as the Mishnah says, the day is short and the task is great. This is our prayer. We shall not relent. We will not turn aside from this sacred duty, the mitzvah of Pidyon Shvuim, the redemption of the captive. May they return home, both the living and the dead, swiftly, with no more loss of life, with no more suffering of the innocent, whether Israeli or Palestinian, and without delay. This is what it means to live out the values of Judaism, to be Matir Asurim, one who releases the bonds of captivity. At this time in our worship, we ask for healing for members of our congregation and their loved ones who are ill. If you are praying for healing of body or healing of spirit for a loved one, I invite you to recite that person's name out loud as my eyes pass yours. To those whose names we have said out loud, we add those whom we hold in our hearts. We say, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, God, the source of healing. Let us say together, Amen. Let's take a moment for silent prayer. Page 62 at the bottom of the page. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Well, this week, the most recent survey of Bay Area Jewish residents came out. This is a survey that's been conducted for 3 years running now by the Jewish Community Relations Council. And while I normally don't have give and take on Friday nights, I kind of do preach frontally. This evening I'm going to invite your comments because surveys are fun. They contain surprises, and that's always a delight. So let me just tell you a little bit about, first, about this survey, and then about how surveys are done. Now, this survey was conducted toward the end of 2024, so really just a couple of months ago. And the JCRC initially conducted a survey in 2022 just to get a sense of the Jewish community's attitudes, especially about major topics of concern in the community. It wasn't their intent, these are not large surveys, it wasn't their intent to do a major study of the Jewish community, but to focus on the concerns of the Jewish Community Relations Council. And they would have just done one survey, but then October 7th happened. And they decided, maybe we should see if things have changed. And so they conducted a survey in 2023. Now they said, well, we've got two. Let's see if what we can learn about events that have happened since then. After all, between then and now, there's been a tremendous amount of public protest against Israel, rising anti-Semitism. They wanted to see what the responses are. So and what did they do? This is not the Jewish Federation. It's Jewish Community Relations Council. The Federation conducted a survey a few years back on a much larger scale, about 3 times as large as this one. This sampled 800 residents throughout all the Bay Area counties. Margin of error of approximately 3.5%. Go ahead.
Just a point of clarification on that 800. This was not the survey that some of us may have responded to was in the one term. They're doing, and that's an add-on of Jews that are associated, that are involved in Jewish community organizations.
Great, we get to be in another one.
This is a more kind of community at large.
Community at large, that's correct, conducted by a combination of phone calls and emails. Margin of error of 3.5% means that anything less than a difference of 4 percentage points could be just random sampling. It's meaningless. So you have to look for differences that are bigger than 4%, or 4% or larger, to know that they're actually significant differences. And now about surveys. Basically, survey research, when you have surveys, there are 3 kinds of questions. There are demographic questions. Who are you? What are the characteristics of the population we're studying? And that's actually the part that's the most interesting to me. And then the second is attitudes and behaviors. You distinguish between attitudes and behaviors. So I'm just pulling out here basically 4 different points to share with you. The first is, who are these people? Who do they say they are? And I'm just going to cite one factoid here. Of the people whom they surveyed, who all ostensibly would have come up on some identifiable way of somebody in the household is Jewish, they asked everybody, what's your religion? And of the people who responded, 59% that said that their religion was Jewish. 59% of the people they surveyed. Now, it's not like most of the others were some other religion. They were not, 5% Protestant, 5% Catholics. It's not large numbers. No, 21% of people they surveyed said they are either not religious or they have no religion. They were being asked, the question is, what is your present religion, if any? What is your present religion? 21%, did I say that right before? 21%. 1 out of 5 Jews in the Bay Area, Jews say that their religion is not Judaism. They're nothing. They say they're nothing. I find this rather interesting. But here's the other thing to put this into context. When asked, if asking those people who said their religion is either they're not religious or none, they didn't want to say their religion is Jewish, asking them, aside from religion, do you identify as Jewish in any way, either ethnically, culturally, or because of your family's background? The answer to that is 100% of them. All of those people. Now, I'm not sure of the exact way they did the screening. I'm not sure how they did the screening for these results. So that's a whole other question. But yeah. So they all said, yeah, I'm Jewish. But I'm not. I don't practice Judaism. Yeah. Or I'm not religious, or I don't have a religion. Tells us something about what Judaism means to people. Okay, so that was one piece of the demographic background. I was particularly interested to know what kind of Jews are these. because denomination, that is the movement you identify with, and religious behavior formed the core of my own dissertation. So what do you think most Jews are in the Bay Area when it comes to movement or denomination that they identify with? What do you think they say about themselves? Give me a guess. Number one form of identification.
Do you mean what synagogues do they not attend?
That would be fine. Yes, that would be perfectly acceptable because you don't have to say you belong to a synagogue. You just have to say, what kind of Jew are you?
My guess is just Jewish.
Ah, bingo. What Janet said is just Jewish. Of all the people who answered this question, 28% of them said, I'm secular. I don't identify that with any movement at all. All right, within the movements, what's the largest movement of Jews in the Bay Area? Reform. And it has been for the past, all three surveys. It's always Reform. 26%. So slight, just under, not significantly different from those who say none or secular, right? Not significantly different, within margin of error. But what is interesting is when you look at the trend over the course of 3 surveys over 3 years. The number of people who call themselves Reform went from 33% to 31% to 26%, and that change is significant. That means a declining number of people identify themselves as Reform. There is some growth if you go back 2 years in the number who call themselves secular. And into behavior, the piece that... What's that?
What were the other third?
16% call themselves conservative, 4% call themselves orthodox. That's actually quite small, by the way, 4%. But it's Bay Area. And there are just not a lot of Orthodox Jews in the Bay Area. Well, what's fascinating to me is that 4% call themselves Reconstructionists, which is remarkable because 4% of American Jews are not Reconstructionists. That's, what's that? Berkeley. Yeah. 6% say they're non-denominational. So if you add that to the secular, you actually get a much larger pool. But the moving into behaviors, this is a standard question about Jewish behavior that appears on all community surveys. Typically about how often do you attend or participate in any Jewish services, events, activities, or programming, either in person or online. Usually it's more narrow, just attend worship services. This is a broader category. How often do you show up for something Jewish, right? Well, 11% say once a week or more, and 13% say a few times a month. So if you put that together, within any given month, you would get 24% of the Bay Area Jews saying they show up to something Jewish. Now, I tried to think about that, 24%. Let's take our congregation. Let's say that there are, for purposes of argument, let's say there are 400 adults in our congregation. Our congregation is a little over 200 households. Let's just round it up, 400 adults in the congregation. And 24%, 1/4 of them, 100. Do 100 members of our congregation show up to some Jewish event, program, service within a given month? Discrete members, not the same person coming multiple times. I'm looking at that going, you know, there's some kinds of behaviors where people are prone to exaggerate, where they might claim to do more than they actually do. Just like there are behaviors where people are prone to minimize their behavior. You ask people, you know, how often do you drink? Once a day, once a week. You know, people have a tendency to minimize those numbers with regard to their personal behavior. So I think this might be a slight exaggeration, but This is what people say about themselves. Go ahead.
Yeah, who is responding? We have demographic information. So if you look at tonight, well, yeah, well, I don't see 100 people here, or, whatever, it matters. But if you go on Sunday to religious school. That's what I was going to say.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So a parent who shows up to drop their kids off for religious school, are they saying, I attended?
Well, some of them stayed this year, Ron.
How many of them stay? Yes. So you're right. So because a person can define this for themselves, it's a little broad, much broader than the basic question of how long do you attend worship, how often do you attend worship services. Okay, I'm going to go on to some of the other questions. Go ahead.
I mean, if you add up how many people are here tonight, how many are coming to Torah study tomorrow, how many will
Possibly.
come to a bar mitzvah, how many will come for religious school?
Yeah, within 1 month, discrete individuals, 100 of them, might be a little high. That's all, just might be a little high. And one other demographic question that I think is worth noting, which is that respondents were asked, are you part of an interfaith family? And guesses, how many people will respond? This is only one person per household responds. How many people, what percentage will say, yes, I'm part of an interfaith family? What did you say? 70. Okay, anybody else? 47. 47% say they're part of an interfaith family. And 51% say they're not part of an interfaith family. Yes?
When you were saying that, do you mean just the immediate family or do you mean an extended family?
I'm reading you the question the way it was framed.
Okay, read it again, I'm sorry.
Are you part of an interfaith family?
That's a hard question to answer.
Okay, fair enough. Right, that's the point of critiquing survey research. Well, the survey doesn't define them, so the respondent is going to define it for themselves.
Yeah, because if my daughter is married and she doesn't live with me, am I considered an interfaith family?
I'm not answering the question because you would have been able to answer it the way you wanted to. Trish?
I'm really surprised, and I'm just wondering about, and that just stuns me.
Yep.
Because when I was doing work, the largest group of, was congregations. The congregations then, in 2010, were well over 50%.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is you expect congregations to have a lower percentage of intermarried households than non-congregants, right? Yeah. So if you're surveying everybody, you expect the numbers to be higher than the survey of members, but that's just on average. Okay, fair enough.
The other question is, how did they get the lists? How many of us would have answered the email or answered the phone?
I don't have the answer to that question. This was okay. Yeah. So and there are problems with that because it biases. Yeah. Right. It biases the answers towards more connected families. Okay. The other piece of what struck me as stunning information was, what's the last grade you completed in school? This is, again, demographics. So if you look at demographics, you're looking at marital status, occupation, education, where you live. Those are all demographic questions. So basically think of this as highest level of academic accomplishment. So where would you peg the, let's just take what they put at the top of the list. Completed, last grade you completed in school, graduate or professional degree. What proportion of respondents said they have a graduate or professional degree? This is not college graduate. We're talking about post, right. 20%, 60, 40, 60. It's 52. Now, listen to this. How many completed four-year college, have a four-year college degree? 30%. You put that together, what you get is 82% of respondents have a college degree or higher. Just think about that. 82% of Jews who responded to the survey have a college degree or higher. It's stunning to me, that level. That is just remarkable. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want to take too long. I find the demographics the most interesting part, but I'll share one attitude, one behavior. I think this falls closer in, well, I think it's more behavioral than attitudinal. What, if any, since the primary concern of the Jewish Community Relations Council is interfaith relations with non-Jewish community, there are two major categories of questions in this survey: Israel and anti-Semitism. Most of the survey is about Israel and anti-Semitism. Asking about anti-Semitism, they ask, what, if any, personal experience have you had with anti-Semitism or discrimination in the Bay Area because of your Jewish identity? Anti-Semitism could include anything from a violent act to a subtle comment that could be perceived as offensive. So, in the past 3 years, have you personally experienced or directly witnessed anti-Semitism? 42% of respondents say they have. That's pretty high, but not most. It's significant, but not most. But this was the interesting follow-up question to that. If you answered yes, this is the part that struck me. Did you report the anti-Semitism to anyone? 66% of those who said they had experienced it or witnessed it said they did not report it to anyone. This could be to the principal of the school. I mean, it doesn't have to be to the police, the FBI, the Anti-Defamation League. You didn't tell somebody, but you experienced it. What that 2/3 of people who have these experiences don't report it. Now that suggests, and their conclusion is, our count of anti-Semitic incidents is probably an undercount.
But if it's like on Facebook, or I was walking down the, I saw the Shakespeare.
Yep.
I was walking down the street, and on the streets, they had anti-Semitic slogans chalked in.
I'm surprised to hear that, and I'm sad to hear that.
So where did you report it to?
Oh, well, I'll tell you where I report these things to. The Anti-Defamation League. They keep a count. They keep a tally. Every year I have occasion to fill out one of their online forms and say, here's what yeah, that one's ugly. That's bad. In that case, I would actually call the city. I would call the city clerk's office and let them know, because they could take it away.
I would hate to be a college student at Berkeley.
It's unavoidable, right? All right. And lastly, I know that I've taken a little too much time doing this, so I'm going to finish out with the two questions that I found significant about Israel. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? This is what they call a Likert scale. So you strongly agree, you somewhat agree, you somewhat disagree, you strongly disagree, or you don't know. You know, it's a scale, a spectrum. Well, do you agree with the statement? Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish and democratic state. And if you put all the agrees together, strongly agree and somewhat agree, that's 89% of respondents. Overwhelmingly, Jews in the Bay Area support the existence of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. It's not even close, 89%. Now, ask them to respond to this question. I am satisfied with the job that the current Israeli administration is doing. And all the agrees, the strongly or somewhat agree, 25%.
Ask the Israeli population, you're going to get.
That's correct. But if we survey the Israeli population, I don't know what the numbers would be. And
It's going to vary. I'm saying in Israel, you're going to get 90% are going to be, other than the far right wing, you're going to get people that are not happy with the current administration. They're not happy
Yeah.
with West Bank. They're not happy with what's going on with the.
And Melissa, my guess is that those numbers actually fluctuate even more rapidly than they do here, depending upon the news of the day. What happens from day to day can affect people's feelings about their attachment.
They were out protesting, and the numbers have been increasing, especially since the war started. The number of
Yeah.
protesters has just gone up exponentially.
So what's important, I think, here is to recognize that if 75% of Bay Area Jews do not align with the Israeli government, they are in good company with Israelis, right? They're not out of sync with Israelis. They're actually probably in sync with most Israelis. Not that we have the survey to line up to, with the same question and all, but I think that's something that we could judge here. Hey, this is not an anti-Israel position. These are people who believe in a strong, democratic, Jewish state that can exist and defend itself. I find these questions to be really just intriguing. And there are limitations. There are limitations to all surveys. But I thought that I would bring that to your attention because it just came out this week. Yes?
Could you post, either in your next week's message or an in-between message, the website?
Yeah, where you can see the executive summary of the survey? Absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Thank you. Maybe I'll put a blurb in the once around about it, yeah, with a link. Okay, let's get some announcements of upcoming events, and I'm going to turn it over to Jay Botello, Vice President for Adult Programs at Beth Emek.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I don't think I have anything that interesting, but it will go on. I wanted to thank Rabbi Milder for leading us in worship tonight, and also thank Randall Block and Judy and Brian Poole for hosting tonight's Oneg. Thank you very much. And if anyone wants to host a future Oneg, please contact Bonnie in the office. In terms of events programs, tomorrow morning, Torah study, 9 a.m., social hall, or Zoom.
I think we're going to be in room 1 tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's good that you clarified, because the once around said here. So yeah, classroom 1. I know it moves around, so classroom 1. And then for other programs, tomorrow morning, at 10:30, we'll have a Torah Time Shabbat and second grade class service. It's appropriate for tots through second grade, and please come. And let me see, other things coming up. On Sunday, this Sunday, February 2nd, 4 to 5 in the sanctuary. Rabbi Milder will be leading a workshop, an Aliyah workshop, and be able to practice your pronunciation of Hebrew Torah blessings, review the melodies for chanting Torah blessings, and learn etiquette for being called to the Torah. Should be a very good reminder for people. And then on Tuesday, February 4th, 7 to 8, there's a vigil for victims of the fires in LA. It's held at St. Clair's Episcopal Church here in Pleasanton. On Hop Yard Road, you can find more details of that in the once around. Let me see. On February 15th, our Israel Moore Jury Committee will be hosting our first movie night at CBE. And this year we're going to, for the first movie, we're going to have Freedom Writers. I didn't think I'd seen this movie, and then as I read the description, I realized I have seen this movie. It's really a good movie, and even if you've seen it, come see it again. The event's going to be free. It's just kind of a get together, all of us here. We will accept donations to, let me see, again, David Dome. But that's just if you want to donate. But otherwise, it's a free event. Please join us. The children's choir is coming back. Rehearsals will begin on Wednesdays, starting February 26th, 4:30 to 5:15. And after 4 rehearsals, they'll be singing at the family Shabbat service on, I lost my place, on Friday, March 21st. And lastly, for what I have to say, on Saturday, March 1st, Dan Nichols will be here in concert at 7 to 8:30. This is a great event for Beth Emick. We're really thrilled to have Dan back, and we'd love to have a great showing. Ticket sales, links to ticket sales are in the once around. Please sign up. So far, we're get some, but we'd love to see more people sign up and become part of this. We're going to try and do something special with teens, where there's a teen section for Dan to be able to interact with. I think he's going to like that. So please do join us on March 1st for that, 7 to 8:30. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
I've been mentioning the melodies I've been using of Dan Nichols, and I forgot to mention tonight that Hashkivenu, spread the shelter of your peace over us, that's a Dan Nichols melody also. Great composer and just a stunning performer. We're going to continue our service with Aleinu on page 282. We're chanting the Aleinu at the bottom of the page. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gudula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You may be seated. Let's continue reading together on page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Judaism teaches us the sacred duty of memory. On this Shabbat, we remember those members of our congregation and their loved ones who have died within the past 30 days. I invite those observing Shloshim to rise as I recite the name of our loved one, Barbara Ellis. And we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred during the past week. I invite those who are observing yahrzeit for the following to rise as I recite their names. Barry Brown, Max Fine, Frank Dean Fischel, Max Fishman, Leon Morris Keir, Jacob Pavel, Bernard Plotkin, Fania Unker. And I invite all who are observing the first year of mourning to rise at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. I want to add one more word, and that's about Kendra Silverman's funeral, which has now been scheduled for Thursday, February 13th, here at 1:30 p.m. I just want to make sure everybody knows about that now. And we'll get a mailing out to the congregation in the coming week. Mourner's Kaddish may be found on page 294. I invite you to rise. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. v'et hadar, v'et aleh, v'et halal, shemed kudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Let us say together, amen. You may be seated. Following our closing song, please join us in the back of the room for Kiddush and Motzi. Pick up a cup of wine or grape juice. The red cups are wine, the white cups are grape juice. Hold on to them and take a piece of challah that we'll pass around, and we'll join together in the blessings. So for our closing song, out of the songbook on page 8, a rollicking Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. There is none like our God. There is none like our God. There is none like our God. Ein Keloheinu, oh, ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. Who is like our God? Who is like our God? Who is like our God? Ein Keloheinu, whoa, ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. We give thanks to our God. We give thanks to our God. We give thanks to our God. El Eloheinu, whoa, ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. Sing praise to our God. Sing praise to our God. Sing praise to our God. Baruch Eloheinu, whoa, ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. You are our God. You are our God. You are our God. Atahu Eloheinu, whoa, ein Keloheinu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. There's no God but you. Ein Keloheinu. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to everybody online.